Due to technical difficulties, the beginning of the meeting up to the beginning of the presentation was not recorded. I am sorry for this, but I've done the best I can to bring you the information that I do have available.
You get to choose what type of antenna you want to, what antenna and equipment you want to use, and your level of competitiveness. Now, one thing that is done, the sponsors usually have categories. So stations are separated into categories based on different things. Quite often, one of the categories is power level, and there's typically three power levels: high power,
The presentation is picked
over
up in
100 watts,
progress.
low
The
power up
first
to
couple of
100
minutes
watts,
was
and
lost.
QRP up to 5 watts. You might also choose your contest based on the location in the world. It's kind of hard from Ohio and Michigan to work the Asian stations, so maybe the Asian DX contest might not be your best bet, but it's pretty easy to work Europe. So the Worked All Europe contest is pretty good. Now, just like in sports in olden days, you needed a program to know what was going on, and for contesting, you need a calendar. So these are all links to amateur radio contest calendars. Probably the most popular one is the WA7 BNM contest calendar. It's extremely comprehensive, and you can also choose to see the results in different ways. I can look at the eight-day calendar that shows all the contests coming up in the next 8 days, and I can click on any of these, and I can see the information on the geographic focus, who can participate, what mode, what bands, number of hours, the exchange, multipliers, score calculation, and I can click here and upload my log when I'm done, and I can also click here and find out the rules for that contest. I can also display the information by 12 months if I want to plan ahead. I can do a 5-week, I can do a perpetual calendar, I can do special calendars like the state QSO parties. I can even go in and set things so that I can see only contests I want. So I could uncheck them all and then just check off the ones I want to see. There's some other calendars. You can explore those on your own. The person that does the contest calendar is Bruce, WA7BNM. He also does the 3830s contest rumor site, which we'll talk about a little later. So what are some good contest picks for newbies? Well, I like, first of all, a contest that's not really a contest, and that's field day. A lot of people get their first taste of contest style operating during the ARRL field day, which is not really a contest, they keep telling you. But some other contests that I find are really good are the state QSO parties. There's 47 of them throughout the year. Some are just one state, some are whole regions like the 1st call district or the 7th call district. So it's a great chance to work a little more laid back contest, especially if it's the one in your state where you can be a multiplier. And those usually are based on counties as multipliers. If you're a technician class, there are VHF and UHF contests. There's 3 major ARRL contests, VHF, UHF contests during the year. The bad news is the last one was September. The good news is there'll be another one in January. If you're looking for a short contest, 1 hour, there's the phone fray on Tuesday nights, the CW mini ops test on Wednesdays. It's actually 4 different single hours during the day. The latest one, there was just one at 3 p.m. this afternoon that I participated in. And then there's also slow speed CW. And for RTTY, there's not much RTTY on the band. So if you want to work RTTY, you need to find a contest or drop into the RTTY Ops sprint every Thursday. Here's a listing of state QSO parties, and you can click on these links for more information. But if you're interested in working DX, you got to work the CQ Worldwide DX and the ARRL International DX. Those are the 4 biggest, actually not 4, the 10 biggest DX contests, because there's actually multiples. Let me get that right. It's not 10, it's 8. So there's single sideband, CW, RTTY, and digital versions of each of these. So these all have 4 actually. The CQ Worldwide phone is coming up the last full weekend in October, so just a short time away from now. That is the biggest contest of the year and your best chance to work DX stations on phone. The phone version of that is in November. The RTTY version was a couple of weeks ago, and the digital version is during the summer. The ARRL DX contest is in the wintertime and January and February. And the RTTY version is actually the first big contest of the year. It's the beginning of January. Worked All Europe is in the late summer, early fall. Russian DX contest is in the spring. The RGB IOTA contest is in the summertime, and the All Asian contest is in the fall, late summer, early fall. Again, these are all links. You can click on these for more information. Here's a presentation from Bill Sayers. AJ8B. It's if you're just interested in chasing DX and you don't really care about the contest, how to get on during a contest and pursue DX. VHF UHF contesting is very similar to HF contesting. Quick exchanges, points per contact, multipliers, which are typically grid squares, and they have contests in a variety of modes, including single sideband, CW, and FT8 and FT4. I got on just to play around for a little while in the September VHF contest, just using digital modes. And let me bring this up real quick here. Come on. So I just got on for about 2 hours and played around with FT8 and FT4 only. I was using my Yaesu FT991. This is a great contest for people with technician class license because you have full privileges. I was using a vertical antenna, which is not what you want to use for digital. You want a horizontal antenna, and I didn't have a beam. But here's my results. What for this distance was 316 miles. I worked 5 states, and it's something you can easily do with any radio that can do single sideband on the VHF UHF band. So there is VHF UHF contesting available. One little difference, typically on VHF and UHF, operators, once they may contact you on one band, will ask if you want to try and work them on other bands. So they'll ask QSY and as a question, and that means do you want to change frequencies or change bands in this case, and they might say what other bands do you have, and then they'll move from one band to the other, usually moving up in frequency where the antenna has to be more closely pointed, and also the rarity of the stations and the distance. Here's more information on VHF and UHF contesting. Let's talk about some myths about contesting. The first myth is it's all about the equipment. You have to have the best equipment to contest, and my HF radio or antenna is not good enough or new enough for the contest. That's totally not true. Even simpler older radios can still make contacts. It's not the equipment, it's how you use the equipment. Read the manuals, watch videos, know how to efficiently and effectively operate your equipment. I would say you have a better chance of doing well in a contest with an old radio that you know how to operate very well than being plopped down in front of the newest radio that you don't know how to use very well. Two other myths are that you need an amplifier to contest and you need a tower and beam antenna to contest. Well, the first one is definitely a myth. Matter of fact, if you do have an amplifier, that puts you into another category, the high power category. Guess what? It's much more competitive. So if you are going to go with an amplifier, you better have a really good station and be a really good contester if you plan on winning anything. Good antennas are always a help, but there's not a panacea. A simple dipole can make lots of contacts, and when you're talking about a contest on 80 meters or 160, a beam is not going to help you anyway. Some other myths: new operators cannot win contests, and there's way too much to learn. Well, with so many contests and categories, if you pick a lesser contest, a smaller contest, and you pick a category that's not that popular, let's put it, or competitive, you have a chance of winning, or at least finishing near the top. There's a lot of resources for new contesters to learn, but you don't need to know it all before you start. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. Other myths are contests are all about the competition, and if I don't finish in first place, there's no benefit in contesting. Well, we already talked about the advantages of non-competitive contesting, and a lot of hams are never going to win a contest because they're not really trying to. Many operators just enter to have fun, to improve their skills, to work new stations. What do you need to get started? We need a radio and an antenna. You need some basic operating skills. You need a list of the contacts. We already told you where to find that. And you need a way to log your contacts. Well, guess what? You don't even need the first one. You can actually operate radios remotely if you know someone that has a radio station that you can operate remotely. But we'll assume for right now that you're not doing that. So you need a basic radio and antenna. You can log your contacts on paper. Although paper logs are still acceptable for some contests, most contest sponsors prefer computer logs, and some of them require it. You need to read the rules for the specific contest because rules are different for each contest. You need to know the dates and times. Remember the dates and the times are in UTC. So if it says 00 UTC Saturday, that actually means 8 p.m. on Friday. So just make sure you know the local time versus the UTC date and time. Know what bands and frequencies are suggested. Most of the contesting does not take place on the so-called work bands. That's 17, 12 meters, 30 meters. No contesting on 60 meters. So most of the contests use the typical 160, although not all do, 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10. You need to know your exchange. Again, that's your bargain to get the contact. You need to be able to give the other station your exchange. You have to have everything ready to go. As I said earlier, paper logs are fine, but contesters really push the use of computer contest logging software because it was much more efficient and effective. There's free software out there, including N1MM. This is the software I use. There's also some commercial versions. N1MM has over half of the contesters use this software. The second most popular is a commercial software called N3FJP. Both of them do a great job. There's some other software, but if you're just starting out, I would look at both these. The N1MM is free. The N3FJP, you can try it out and see if you like it and then decide whether you want to buy it. I have more information on Macintosh and Linux logging software on my website. I also have a whole presentation on logging software and general contesting that you can go to for details on that. So I'll skip over the rest of the logging software. So how do you make a contact? Well, there's two ways. You can call CQ or you can search and pounce. Calling CQ is often known as running in contest because one station will get on a frequency and keep calling CQ and keep answering stations and then repeat and repeat and repeat. A searching pouncing station is tuning around for the stations calling CQ and answering the CQing stations. Most people, when they start out, are more searchers and pouncers. If you get on and call CQ, don't be surprised if 15 stations come back to you. So be ready to deal with the problems with that, and also be aware that you might have a hard time holding on to your frequency because there might be someone else calling CQ very close to you. So in addition to each station's call sign, the operators typically send an extra piece of information called the exchange. We already talked about the different types of exchanges. So here I'm making a contact in this contest with Bob, and I say, Bob, you're 5'9" in Ohio, and Bob says you're 5'9" in Utah, and we're done. On our way. We've exchanged call signs. We did our exchange. We're done. So if you want to rag chew, contesting is not the place to do it. I already mentioned the different types, but the one I didn't mention before is some contests use a combination. So for example, this ARRL sweepstakes uses a letter category for your power in your operations, a serial number, your station's call sign, the first year you were licensed, and the ARRL section you're in. Here's information on finding your grid square, because grid squares are used a lot in VHF, UHF contests, and some other ones. I also have a whole presentation on radio charts and maps, and that'll give you information on things like CQ zones, ITU zones, etc., so you can find that information. So let's do a typical contest contact. We'll do a phone one first. Station A, CQ contest, Kilo 3, Lima Radio. Station B, Kilo 8, Zulu Tango. KHCT 59, Tim, WPA, Western Pennsylvania. 59, Al, Ohio. Thank you, QRZ K3's LR. And they go on, and he works the next guy. So that's it for a phone contest. Pretty simple. Notice we use phonetics to make sure they got our call sign correct. We don't want to have to repeat it multiple times, so we want to be much more exact by using phonetics. CW contest is even more trim. CQ test, K3LR, K8ZT. He answers me, K8ZT 5NN. We'll talk about the NN in a minute. Tim, WPA, 5NN, Al, Ohio. Thank you. I'm sorry, TU for thank you, QRZ, K3LR. On their way. If you had a problem, he would ask me. When we correct it, we'll talk more about that in a moment. But those are simple contacts. How do you find people they're going to talk to? Well, in big contests, it's easy. You'll fall over them when you turn the radio on. But in smaller contests, usually they have a suggested frequency, so you might want to check a specific part of the band to try and find stations, for example, for the Arizona QSO party this weekend. Again, know what your exchange is before you answer the other station. Make sure you're within the frequency and mode limits of your license. Just because someone's calling CQ on a certain specific frequency doesn't mean you have privileges there. And if you go down the bottom of 40 meters in the CW portion of the band and listen for European stations or Canadian stations, they will be calling CQ where you cannot answer with voice. So make sure you're in your privileges before you answer. Make sure you can copy the other station's call sign. The worst thing you can do is when there's a station calling CQ, after they come back to you, ask them for what their call sign is. No. Wait until you know their call sign before you reply to them. Make sure you're on their listening frequency. They might be listening a little above or below, and I'm not talking about split like DX stations do. I'm just talking about just a little bit. So make sure you answer where the last station they replied to was calling. Listen to how the other stations are responding. Are they answering the first callers, the later callers, the stations that are going fast, the stations that are going slow? And you want to match that. One thing that's very important is once you give the exchange, you need to give it in the right order. This is known as the accepted order of elements. Sometimes it's by tradition, sometimes it's for clarity, but that's the way we do it, and you want to do it the same way. So, here you go. Here's Bob and Mary. This is the ARRL sweepstakes, and this is the exchange. It's long, I told you. He gives a serial number of 2315B, his operating category. You have to give your call sign again in the exchange for this particular contest. This is the only contest that does that. WB3QFG, that's a horrible call, by the way. 14, the last two digits of the year he was licensed, and his ARRL section, WPA. Mary gives Roger, Roger, thank you, and she's off to work the next station. Here, Bob sends WB3 QFG B2315 WPA 14. He's sending all the right information, but he's not sending it in the order Mary's expecting it. So she's expecting a number to start with, and she gets a letter. So she's already flummoxed, and the chances of sorting this out are not that great. So she asks him to send it again. So the right way, the wrong way. So the only other thing you need to do besides the exchange is make sure that they copied your exchange. And you'll know that they copied your exchange and you're done with the contact when they do any of these things in green. If they do one of these things in the red section, you might need to repeat your exchange. So if they send a question mark on CW, if they ask for your call sign, or they send call with a question mark, again, or repeat, number, that usually means they're missing a serial number, exchange, section, county, whatever part they're missing. If they're asking for a specific part of the exchange, just give that part when you respond. If they say before dupe, they think they've worked you before, check your log. If you haven't, say no dupe, and then give the information. If they did, just move on. You don't have to worry because you already worked them. If they send any NIL on CW or say not in the log, that means they didn't work you, so don't log them. You will get busted for that because it wasn't a valid contact. If they say later or sorry, that means they tried but they couldn't pull you out. Later means not 10 seconds, but maybe 10 minutes or a half an hour. And even during weekends like the CQ Worldwide, it might mean the next day. The first day is really busy, the second day is not as busy. Most of the X stations hang out in the same spot, so mark it down and check them later. If you get one of the green responses, that means they got your exchange and you're ready to go. TU on CW, thank you. R or RR on CW, or Roger on phone, QSL 73. Okay, yes, or any other affirmative, yes. Unfortunately, some people don't do anything. They just start working the next station. So you have to assume that if everything was going smoothly and they don't ask for a repeat and they start working the next station, they probably got you. I wish they would take a second to send TU or a Roger or something, but some people don't. Now, the problem is when you're not sure, or they're not sure if they got the information correct. So before, we either definitely had it or didn't have it. Now, let's say they got your call wrong. So they answer you with your call wrong. On phone, make sure you have a set of alternative phonetics. Because if they bust my Kilo 8 Zulu Tango, I can repeat it all day, and they might not get it right. Especially if they convert that Zulu into a 0, I know I'm going to have trouble. So my alternative phonetic for Zulu is Zanzibar. My alternative phonetic for Tango is Tokyo. I don't use that all the time, but if they're having trouble with my phonetics, I make sure I have another set. Don't use cute phonetics, especially with DX stations, especially in contest. It just slows things down. Excessive use of sending double call signs if things are good. You don't need to repeat everything. On phone, good operators use their voice to help direct the station by emphasizing certain letters, and on CW, proper spacing is very important. Here's my number one thing. If you get nothing else from this presentation, this is the most important slide in the entire presentation because it applies to not just contesting, but any type of contact you make. If the station you're answering comes back with your call sign and repeats it to you, and they have it right, don't repeat your call sign. Confirm it. Give them a Roger, an R, a QSL, anything, but don't give your call sign again, because if they had it right and you give it again, they're going to think that it must have had it wrong. If it was wrong, give them a no, a negative, and then send the correct call sign. If they're having problems with just a couple of letters, you might want to just give those couple letters over and over again. So if they've got my K8 right and they got my ZT wrong, I might send the ZT a few times on CW, or say Zulu Tango, Zulu Tango, Zulu Tango. They already got my K8. But number one, if it's correct, don't repeat it, confirm it. So you read all the rules, you know what the exchange is, you get on the air, no one's using the exchange you thought they were going to. Well, we already found out one reason that might be because they're giving in a specific order. But the second one is something that happens on CW only, and that is cut numbers. And then there's another thing that happens on CW, unintentional cut numbers, in other words, badly sent CW. So let's take a look at that. Instead of sending 599, which takes a lot of time because a 9 takes a long time to send, they send 5NN, which is much shorter. Every number has a cut letter for it, but most of them are not used that often. 0 is T, 9 is N. Those are the two most common cut numbers. A is used sometimes for 1. These are not really cut numbers, but there's abbreviations with numbers. ATT would be 100, K would be 1,000. And a lot of people now have moved away from doing 5NN and they're doing DIT-NN, in other words, ENN, which is even shorter. That's developed in the last 5 years of contesting. So that's the cut numbers. Those are okay as long as you understand what they're doing. The problem is sometimes they're unintentional cut numbers. So if I get 4 dits and I'm expecting a number, what number is 4 dits? What's your first guess, everyone? 5?
Yeah.
But it could be 1. It could be 4. It could be 5. We don't know what they left out. It could be 1, 4, or 5. So this is a problem. If people are consistently sending this, you don't know what they're doing. Also, if you hear a bunch of J's, they're probably chopping off a 2. And how this happens is sometimes it's sloppy sending, sometimes it's improper switching when they're switching over an amplifier and they're missing a character or cutting off a character. So don't be that person. Make sure that you have someone check to make sure your CW sounds like you think it does. There's also a way to record yourself by going to online software-defined radios, sending the information, listening to yourself from a distance, and recording it and seeing what you sound like. Okay, so enough preaching. What's next? After your first contact, make more contacts. Some contacts are called multipliers. We'll talk about those in a minute. And they basically are the number of points you worked times the number of multipliers gives you your final score. So go forth and work more multipliers. So what is a multiplier? Different contests have different types of multipliers. They're also known as mults. Multipliers might be states, counties, sections, zones, prefixes, etc., etc. Also, different contests, some different contests let you get multiplier credit once per contact, once per band, or sometimes for once per band and for mode. So in some contests, you can get double multipliers and you can get them on every band by working the same station. CQ Worldwide, you get a multiplier for the country and the zone. So if it's a new country and a new zone, I get 2 multipliers. And if I work them on multiple bands, which I can do, I get 2 times however many bands I work them on. Other contests like the ARRL VHF contest, you can only get 1, you can only work the station once per band. No matter what mode you get, there's no multipliers for working more. So a couple tips for newer contesters: make sure you read and understand the rules, know your exchange ahead of time, know the station's call sign before responding, keep the QSO streamlined, send only what is required, avoid excessive information, repeat only requested information, don't repeat everything. I have a whole presentation called How to Make That QSO Get in the Rhythm, Know the Rhyme, and Dance the Dance. You can go to this link and you can watch that whole presentation. So let's say you do decide you want to enter your information. The most common way to do it is with a computer file. It's called a Cabrillo file, and it's generated by the logging software, so it's pretty easy to do if you're using logging software. But if you're not, there's other ways to generate it using this website. So you can take your handwritten log and convert it into a Cabrillo file by going to this website. Now, a Cabrillo file is specific per contest, so you have to pick the right contest. Once you pick the right contest, you can type all the information in and then type your log in. After you complete that first step, it lets you type your log in, and it will generate an electronic file for you. But I think after you do that a couple times, you're probably going to want to start doing electronic logging as opposed to paper logging, especially if you made a couple hundred contacts. So you generate this Cabrillo file. It's got an extension of .log on it as opposed to .ADI or ADIF, which is a different type of file. That's the ADIF file. So you export the Cabrillo file, you send it to the contest sponsor either by uploading it or emailing it to them. I also export an ADIF file from my logging software, from my contesting software, to import into my existing logging software. I keep all my logs in one logging software, not in the contesting software. And I have a whole presentation about that, but I'm not going to go into detail. I also enter my information at 3830, that's the contest rumor site, and basically it looks like this. You don't have to do this, it doesn't count for anything, but you can go in here and put your information in, and when you do that, come on. Oh, that contest is over. There we go. So I put the information in and I submit it. Then I can go in and see other people that submitted their information and compare how I did. Now, not everyone does this, so that's not going to tell me whether I won the contest or not. The log is not checked for duplicates and for other purposes, so I might have had something completely wrong. Let me grab the right contest here. So there we go. So I did this contest a little earlier today, and you can see that I came in 4th in my category. Now, this particular contest, you don't actually send your log in. They actually use 3830 for the scoring. So this is a little bit different than something like the CQ Worldwide. So even though I might be at the top of my category, I still have to wait for the final results. I also upload my logs to Logbook of the World, EQSL, and Club Log for other people that want the information. And I back up all my logs to an offline site such as Google Drive or OneDrive, so I have my logs all safely stored. I upload them to these sites. Now, you have to wait a while before you get the results. They're either published in a magazine or online, or you get an email, but it's going to be months. The other thing you can do besides 3830 is there's live scoreboard sites where you can go out and see your score real time. So if you go to these sites, you can see the CW Ops contest, and you can see how you were doing during the contest. This is actually live, but not everyone does it. Here's more on the 3830 site. Now, unfortunately, even winning the biggest contest of the year gets you no big cash prize, nothing, no car, nothing like that. If you're lucky, you get a trophy or a paper certificate or nothing. So don't plan on getting rich by contesting. Now, the nice thing is, every once in a while, you get something in the mail. This came this morning. And I knew it was coming because I got a notice that I was getting something in the mail from Newington. So I got, let's see if I can get it to focus. Probably not. It's probably going to hide on me. There we go. AWL Sweepstakes last November. The trophy arrived today. I didn't do good in this. I didn't do very well in this contest because the sweepstakes is not my best contest, but I did well enough in my category. QRP in the Great Lakes Division. So you could have won this trophy if you were a QRP operator and you're in Michigan. You could have won this instead of me. All you needed was a few more contacts than me. So that's one of the things about contesting. The winning part is not so much just on you, it's who else enters and how good a day they had in addition to how good a day you had. So you can see I finally, in 2022, got the first place world QRP category on the CQ Worldwide. I've entered this contest over 40 times. This was not my best score by far. This was half as good as my best score, but it was the best score that year. That's what matters. Okay, so the rest of this is contest resources. I'm just going to let you click on these your own. This is a course that I designed for the AWRL a few years back. You need to be a member to go to that course. I also have a presentation from CT Contest University, which is held a day before Dayton each year on Thursday. If you ever get a chance to go down there, it's great. But the nice thing is, if you don't get a chance to go down, you can go to the CT Contest University website and you can view all the presentations that were held. You can view all the slideshows, and about 1/4 of them are recorded, so you can watch those. If you are going to use contesting software, it's a really good idea to interface your radio, and I just did a presentation on that 2 weeks ago. You can watch the video on how to do that. More information here on mailing lists that you can join if you're interested in contesting, a book, some general resources here. As I mentioned earlier, Contest University, when you click on the link, you can go up here to the Files section, and you can go to 2025 and you can read everyone's presentation. Here's my Busting Contest Myths. You can go out there and read that presentation. Now you can also watch the video because this set was recorded. But you can go back all the way through many years and get a lot of good contesting information all the way back to 2014. And as I said before, 1/4 of these are also recorded, so you can simply go to the videos and watch them. It's one giant video, so you have to sort of find the part you want in there. I also have a link on my website. I have a bunch of contesting resources. And that's the end. So any questions, comments, make sure you write down this shortcut or shoot the QR code with your phone, and that'll get you access to the slideshow. Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Oh, hi there.
Yes.
Jay, Whiskey Bravo 8, Sierra Bravo India. I've noticed on many times on a contest that, especially when it's the big gun stations that, that are always in the top five of their category in the world, that you acknowledge their information, you send your information, they just don't acknowledge it. They just call the next CQ.
The good stations do. The there are people that do that, but the really good stations do something to acknowledge. They might send a DIT on CW, they might send a TU, they might say thank you. Not all of them do, but you'll see that the ones that consistently finish at the top, not just the ones you hear, but the ones that finish at the top typically do give that information. Because here's the problem. If they don't confirm, they have a higher error rate, because then people that didn't know that they confirmed might not log them.
Or they try and make, and they come back and say, did you get me?
Yeah.
Did you copy?
Yeah. So it's not a good practice. Some people do it. Some people get decent scores doing it, but the really good people don't do it that way.
Thank you.
And please don't do it.
And do we have any other questions for Anthony?
We have any contesters out in the group?
We do. They're not. We have 4 or 5. I don't see every. We do in the club, not
Okay.
here tonight. Although, there are a few out there. Anyway. All right, Anthony, listen, that was really concise, very interesting, and a lot of great material. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome.
All right, on behalf of the Hazel Park Amateur Radio Club and all these people sitting here and the people online and the folks who will be watching this later as they watch the recording. So don't forget, check out the Hazel Park Amateur Radio YouTube page, and you'll be able to see this and a lot of other things as well. So, all right, Anthony, again, thank you. Really terrific. I mean, that was
I have
exceeded
one more. I have one
expectations.
more slide. I'm sorry, I forgot one
Oh,
slide.
sure, go ahead. Yeah.
This slide here will get you to all of my presentations.
Oh, wow.
tiny.cc/K8ZT-P. And when you go there, there's a whole section for beginners materials,
Wow.
buying equipment, call signs, contesting, clubs, CW, DXing, field day, food, FT8 and FT4, general information, HF, and so forth. These all have slideshows, and a lot of them also have
Yeah.
recordings that you can watch.
Wow. Well, thank you for that. Yeah, that's
the URL again?
Yes, I'll
what's
give that
the
to you in one
question?
second. I just want to mention this one thing, especially for beginners. This is about 5 hours of beginner's guide to VHF, UHF. It's recorded, and there's the same thing for HF. The URL is K8, the tiny.cc/K8ZT-P. But if you go to
Okay.
the slideshow, it's also the last slide in the slideshow.
Okay. Got it. Got it. All right. Well, once again, Anthony, thank you so much. And I think you've inspired a whole new effort here on people getting into the contesting, and it can be very consuming, and it's a great hobby. All right. Well, thanks again.
You're very
Hey,
welcome.
you're welcome to stay with us if you want to see.
Well, I'm probably going to jump into my own local club meeting and see how that's going, because I got their computer fixed over the phone, so I know
Oh,
they're
great.
I know they're live on Zoom too. So 73, everyone.
All right. Take care. 73. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we're done then. Good. All right, what else we got going on here? Well, don't forget we got some open positions, and it would be great to see some of these positions filled. It'd be very helpful. And amongst them, well, the website is one of them. Like we said earlier, the website needs help. Yeah. So anyway,
Sharing your screen there, Joe. Yeah.
what's wrong?
Sharing your screen.
Oh, I'm not sharing. Well, that was a problem since childhood. Let's see here. All right, so screen 2 is what we want to share. Hey, anyway, so yeah, so what we were showing here is, what is this? Okay, what we're showing here, of course, is website update, help wanted. We really need help to get our story out there, and we have a great story to tell this year. We are very busy. Yes.
Because I've offered 2 or 3 times and I put a message on that website, never got responded to. Do you know that the email, when you put a message on the website, it gets somewhere?
That is a really good question.
Okay.
I'm glad you asked. Yeah. We'll check that out. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, we could use some help there. All right. In addition to getting our story out, and we have a great story this year, a lot of things going on. We also have the issue of well, QSL cards. You know, we get these occasionally and they come. So if we had a QSL manager or somebody willing or interested in helping out in that department, that would be fantastic. And as long as we're helping out, how about look, we need to look after our QRZ page too and get our information updated there. Now, once we get that all sorted out, think about this, especially for the new folks here. Our licensed classes are beginning. Again, our general class has begun. That's on Monday nights from 7 to 9. Technician will begin October 21st, which is a mere 2 weeks from now, or maybe a little less than that. And then the extra class will pick up again in January, and hopefully the folks from the general class and the technician class will join the extra class. So we have a lot of activity going on there. The next thing, once you do get your license there, don't forget the volunteer examiners are an important part of what makes this work. However, there have been some changes. There have been some changes, so we need to get that all sorted out as well there. All right. Now, Bob is here somewhere, right?
I'm here.
Oh, there he is, way in the back there. All right. Well, Bob, so sure, we've got your numbers here posted up here. All right.
All right. What's important here is all I'm showing you here is our regular operating
But
activity. All right. On this, I am not showing you the how the grant funds are going. I have a separate statement for the
right here.
for the grant funds. Okay, go back to the other one first for a second.
Okay, yeah.
One more. That's fine. That's fine. The activity that we had this month is some interesting stuff. We had some, for the repeater, along with our regular monthly phone bill, we have also an annual phone bill that allows the repeater guys to control the repeater from home. That's a utility we pay for that's called phone power, and that's just once a year. Okay, so that aside from the 259, that's composed of 2 pieces, the 199 for phone power, and then the regular $61.66 for the regular phone. Other than that, the only other kind of interesting stuff that's going on is we had some donations that came in September, 350. That's nice. You are all welcome to donate money to the club aside from your. Okay, the other interesting thing is we normally pay for the field day and the picnic rental. We have to pay for that in March, as soon as Hazel Park opens up the rental period for that. So we pay for that then, but when we pay for it, we also have to pay deposits. Well, you see the negative number here for field day. We got our deposit returned. And you see there's a very, very small picnic expense of $43. It's actually $143, but we also got the picnic rental deposit return. So we had $200 to our favor. Okay,
Got it.
that's it. So you see, year to date, we're doing pretty well. We're $55 to the good. Okay, let's go to the all right, now y'all know we got the grant of $26,700. Of that, we've spent about $10,700. The amount we still have left for the grant fund is $16,000, $16,007. Can you flip back to the summary? Yes, okay. Now, all right, so how much cash do we really have? Well, what we really have in the bank right now is $21,000, $21,178. Now, this is as of September 30th. Of that, $16,007 is really the grant fund money that we still have left to spend. We have $5,171, which is just regular club cash. And we still have, I haven't brought over some of the cash that's in PayPal. We have another $217 in PayPal. Okay.
All right.
Yes.
Can you briefly summarize the money that's from the grant, what it's been spent for?
Yes, I'll tell you exactly what it's been spent for. We had $480 spent for the LTU Extreme, the cable, the surge protector, and that's for the microwave stuff. We spent 10,000. Well, as first 93.68 plus another $888. That's for the antenna, the duplexer, the heliax, and the isolator.
Yeah, so the whole antenna system basically is here.
Okay.
Okay. Well, okay.
So
What is the grant through, or where do we get the grant from?
ARDC, Amateur Radio
digital
Communications.
Yeah. So in terms of the overall project budget, the entire grant, are we basically, we're not, the actual costs are not coming in over budget. They're coming in as estimated. Is that correct?
The duplexer was a little more than we thought.
Yeah, if I can make a suggestion, we meet every Monday night. Every Monday night, we go through this extensively. If you want to join, and we can answer all these questions for you. And
Is that online?
yes, absolutely. We'll make sure. Well, at 7 o'clock. So it kind of replaces the extra class, but so I'll make sure you get a. And if I don't, but I will try to do my best to remember. Let me know, and I'll send you an invite. We'd love to have you. And you could watch it online. Thank you, John. WATOY is posting all our meetings online. In fact, last Monday's meeting from 2 days ago will be posted by tomorrow. So you'll get caught up as to all the discussion and details about what's going on with the repeater.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Bob. Okay. So the next thing, our mentoring committee has been busy, hard at work. And we just want to remind everybody that, Len set out the survey there last year, and let's just keep this front and center in where we're going in our club activities, digital modes, of course, emergency training, POTA is very popular, so on and so forth. So we will use this information as we design activities for the club in the coming year. Also, we do want to thank, speaking of the repeater, we do want to thank our off-air monitors for keeping their rabbit ears on and listening to the conversation. We are family oriented. We do encourage healthy debate, things like that, but we want to keep it respectful and remember the whole family it could be listening there. Next, The club does have some items to sell, and so we'll talk about that just here in a second. But I do want to say this is another opportunity. If you want to get involved directly in club activities, this is another area that could really use a little bit of oversight. But some of the thinking has been things just like this. The jackets are very popular. The t-shirts, the coffee cups, the hats. I personally like the little tool bag there. I think that's pretty cool. So we would like to be able to uh, provide this in more quantity than we currently have. And along with that is the badges, of course. We need to work on that. I know there has been an effort to get it all updated. We're moving ahead, and hopefully we'll have some good news by next month, and we'll get everybody's badge, including my own. This badge here, if anybody sees it, I haven't seen it in a while there, so I'd like to get a new one myself. Now, when it comes to what we have for sale, just to remind everybody, if anyone's interested in any of this I'm not so, this would be nice just to have around, quite frankly. This is a mercury vapor half-wave rectifier, okay? And I like the base of that there. That's very cool. Very, very cool. We do have the Panasonic telephone set there. If you're setting up a new shack, like out in the garage or somewhere, and you want some phone, a couple of wireless phones that you can walk around with, this is the item for you. Also, we have some handheld radios here. These are right next to the amateur band. Oh, here we go. Right, they're right next to the amateur band. These are land mobile, so they're in this frequency range right there. So very easily tunable, and these very sharp looking headsets come along with them. This following slide is left over from field day, but I just want to say CW is it's an art as much as it is anything else, a communication platform. And if you know a little CW, practice it. And we could really use a little more help on field day next June. So if you start now and you practice, once or twice a week, maybe we get some operators there next week. Then, also, again, want to thank John, WATOY, for looking after all of our remote access, also our video library. And just to say that the meetings from the repeater are being posted online now. Last Monday, 2 days ago, they'll be ready tomorrow. So you can watch them and get an idea of what's going on in terms of the repeater. And these meetings are from the aspect of, we talk about the activities and the tasks that need to be done, but we also address the technology behind it. So we understand what we're building, and we have a lot of good input. And if you're interested in that, please, everybody is welcome to check it out. And if not, go to John's very nicely laid out YouTube channel, and you can watch some of those episodes. Also, don't forget, although I guess it's winding down now for the season, but the siren testers would appreciate a hand there. And Marsha was doing it, but now has handed off to Mike, VPC Mike.
Whiskey 8 Victor Papa.
Whiskey 8 VPC. Thank you. And he's been handling it. I've seen the emails going back and forth. So please get involved. It's really an important part of keeping our community
I
safe.
think there's one more test for this calendar year.
One more?
And then it picks up again February or March next year.
March, yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, March, yeah.
Yeah, it picks up again. So December, January, and February are recharge your battery.
Yeah, well, hopefully we're going to recharge our repeater, and we'll get some coverage up there in the upper northwest section of Oakland County, so that we can.
Yes, the spotter training.
The spotter training, that is from the National Weather Service. They sponsor that, and you just have to go to weather.gov. And when you go there, on the left side of that page, you'll see a place to enter your zip code. That'll get you to the Weather Service office at White Lake Township and for your city. And they put up a banner at the top of the screen saying when and where it's going to be. So look for that sometime in the spring. But that's a Weather Service. They're the entity, the agency that takes care of spotter training.
They've put up online courses also. Yes.
Yeah.
You can take it online too. It's not as good. But you could do it online also.
Yeah, but the National Weather Service, that's their thing.
It's a good class.
Okay.
And if you do it online, if you zoom in, it's like an hour, hour and a half, something like that, when you do it via Zoom. And you can, they give you a link to go get a certificate if you want some more paper for your own shaft.
All right.
But they're the agency.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you for that. And don't forget, Saturday mornings, it's the place to be. 8 o'clock, 8:30, something, or 8:15, let's say. We'll call it 8:15, 12 Mile and DeQuinder. That is where it's pretty impressive. At times, there's as many people at breakfast as there are right here in the room. So, and I mean, it shrinks, it expands and shrinks, but it's a great time to get together and chat about the different things that are going on. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm looking for some help on any tone digital radio. It's all programs, all working. Want help exporting the file,
So, I'm sorry, yeah,
exporting the settings.
right,
Settings.
right,
Frequencies.
right. So and what's the model of the radio? Do you know?
Yeah.
Or the manufacturer? I mean, that's
Any tone, digital.
oh, anytime. Oh, yeah. All right. Anybody can lend a hand on that. Len is making a notation, and so he can follow up on that with you.
Okay.
That'd be terrific. Good. Also, and thank you for reminding me, I was supposed to make one other announcement about something that we'll talk about in a few minutes. Okay.
Stay tuned.
Oh, stay tuned. Don't go away. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I joined the club last year.
Yeah.
And I never get notifications or emails or anything about upcoming events or things coming up.
We're working on that. We're trying to get that website back up.
That's what I was just wondering how.
We're a little behind on that website.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's been a bit of a transition. I apologize on behalf of everybody who's keeping our record straight, and we're taking care of those details. We'll make sure you get copied on that. Just make Len will help out with that. Anything else we have? Comments? Oh, Mike.
Is that also the reason that I didn't get noticed this year on my membership dues?
They've never done that.
Oh, I've gotten an email every year saying your dues are, and this year I didn't get it.
I found out I didn't.
And I was on today and noticed, oh, wait, April. Wow. So I paid my dues today that were due in April.
Wow. Well,
What are membership dues due in April?
well, I think they're due differently, right, for everybody?
It should be doing. It's like,
So,
so the time you
and
start.
your fiscal year is your fiscal year.
Yeah.
When in doubt, just send an extra $30 in.
Yeah, there you go.
You'll be glad to take our money.
Well, and I hope we will use it wisely. I promise you that. All right. Yes, sir. Yes, go ahead.
Has anybody used a PAC antenna?
That's what's the announcement I was supposed to make. The PAC antenna. There was a conversation earlier about it. Anybody have any experience with the PAC antenna, which is
It's a small end-fed half wave.
That's all it really is.
Okay,
And it's used for POTA for a lot of reasons. It's very versatile. It works pretty darn good. You know, you might have to have it sooner or might not, depending on how long it is.
right,
But, you know, you're good at 10 to 40 at least.
okay,
And, you know, for a certain way that you can put it together too, you can also drape it just like a fisherman's pole too.
oh, great, oh, that's good to know.
How,
It,
you know, when it's assembled, how much space does it take?
Not too much.
How
I
much?
mean, it depends on how long the line is, but if you're going to drape it from like a high altitude, 30, maybe 40 feet, maybe not even that.
If you make it yourself, you make it out of a ruler that rolls
Yeah,
up.
exactly.
Yeah.
What they call.
Just like we made out for the scouts, you know, we made those little beams for fox hunting.
oh, right, right, yeah,
Measure,
Tape measure beam.
the work
tape
out.
measure beam.
Yeah.
All right,
All right, what about flex radio?
flex radio, well, that's a big one there. Well, flex, let me,
Don't go to.
flex radio is, to me, it's like using AutoCAD. It's like, it has a million choices and it does everything and it does almost too much stuff, but so listen, flex radio is top notch. I mean, it's used in the government, the military uses them, you know, so I would say if you could afford entering that level of radio, that's probably a good bet. I myself, I use the other SDR. I use the one from the UK there.
Which one?
SDR Play.
SDR Play?
Play, yes. I've used it and it's very effective, but it's a receiver only. It's not a transmitter. The others is a receive transmit. Okay. Now, so that's what we have for tonight. We want to be out of here, well, as close to 9 as we can. So if everybody could do this, if you could take your chair and the chair next to you where there's nobody sitting, and we'll rack them up. We'll get this place packed up. We'll be out of here. And don't forget to check us out online. John, WATOY, has been doing a good job getting these programs posted. So good night. Take care and good DX.
All righty. Upcoming program.